The doll I'm going to tell you about has been with me since I'm 12 years old and was the first doll I ever collected. I've never really been a collector, and while I'd had dolls I'd played with as a child, gifted to me by family, I'd mostly played with clay and other art supplies up to that point. But my family and I were vacationing in Gatlinburg, Tennessee, the summer that I was 11 or 12, and my brother and I had saved our allowances for the arcades and the saltwater taffy and the tchotchkes, when lo and behold, we wander into a craft festival hosted at Aeromont, and I walked up to the table of an artist then known as Betty Blount, and I absolutely lost my mind. I was instantly in love with everything on the table and lingered there for way longer than was normal or polite. I remember exchanging furtive glances with the girl behind the table, who seemed not much older than myself to me at the time. But being too shy to say anything or ask any questions, I simply loitered there, picking up every doll on the table in turns, marveling at the construction and the costuming and the colors and the details with an ache in my heart I had not known before. I managed to tear myself away long enough to find my parents and beg them for an advance on my allowance, because I had barely more than half of the $65 that I would need to purchase this doll. $65. But in order to advance me that much on my allowance, my parents, who did not do credit cards back then, would have had to end our vacation a day early and forego the last night in our Howard Johnson's hotel room. So it was either give Connie an advance and go home early, or say no and stay the extra day. It was a big decision, and the craft festival was over for the night. So my parents said, "Let's go have dinner and discuss this, and sleep on it. We'll come back in the morning and make a decision." Spoiler alert, my brother was not happy that weekend. My parents succumbed to my robust campaign at dinner. The next morning, we checked out of Howard Johnson's, went back to Aeromont, and I bought the doll, whom I named Hattie. I still love everything about this doll to this day, from her little pointed, knotted cap with the chin strap that frames her face so perfectly, to her horsehair wig, to the fact that the slightest tilt of her head yields up a completely different expression, even though nothing about the stitching changes. She's magical to me. And then there are her button joints at shoulders, elbows, hips, and knees. They're not terribly complicated, but they are remarkably made and beautifully efficient in the way that they serve how her body balances in my hand. I have copiously studied these joints over the years, developing my own button flange joints that are different from, but informed by hers. Hattie and I have been together for 48 years now. Our salt and pepper gray heads of hair almost match. It's astonishing to me that this doll is almost a half a century old, and I am both thrilled and honored to have kept company with her all this time, learning from her and following her maker, our beloved Akira Blount, into NIADA nearly 20 years later.